Thermal Sound Wave.
It is Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We here, see Truth, Kev Lawrence.
Yes.
Right about now, we got a brother here who's an artist, a lyricist, composer, a MC. I won't say a rapper because he does some MC things. There's a difference if y'all don't know, and you need to find out.
There is a difference.
Absolutely. Joining us right now, coming out of VA, like the brother Mad Skills, and he does have that as well. We got none other than BlackLiq here on the program. What's going on?
What's going on? Yo, peace and skills too, yo. But yeah, we up here, man. What's happening with you?
Everything's great, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm excited. We a day away from the first step in the album coming out.
Right.
And life has just been crazy. Been a lot of good things going on, man. So I'm just thankful, yo, for real.
Yes,
now,
indeed.
For people out there, which part of VA you coming from right now?
Oh yeah, Richmond, Virginia.
Shout out to Richmond.
A lot of history.
Facts.
A lot of history.
Shout out to Richmond, Virginia.
Whole lot of fun history indeed. You know what I'm saying? We were front and center for the monument stuff, and it's a political town in a lot of ways. But Richmond, what it has in common with any place is that it's a community. But the challenge and downfall of any community is that communities have to build each other, and if you don't build your community, it falls apart. And so I'm fortunate to come from a place that did support and does support and represents the standards of DIY and of hustling. And also of the true nature of hip hop, like you said, MCing and everything. Like, there's a lot of respect for that in Richmond. We ain't just making trap music and all that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's also a spot that has some rich culture as far as performing arts as well. You have a lot of people that are doing things on the theater stage and performing that way. Just outside. Oh yeah,
there's a dense community of that. There's also an arts community as far as There's arts from murals and there's craft beers. And of course, what Richmond's really known for is its hardcore scene. It was just, like rock music. I'm in a metal band called Armageddon Time also, you know what I'm saying? And the punk hardcore scene in Richmond is incredible.
I don't think a lot of people understand that and know. And it's something else. Shout out to King's Dominion also, because being in Virginia at times, we would love to go to King's Dominion, and we ain't getting the rides. We look for some things. So shout out to King's Dominion up there also. Shout out to Virginia State. Shout out to UVA. Shout out to military people out there. Val Beach, all that type of stuff. So I got put onto that rock scene from an artist named Milton J. He works with Charlemagne, producer, but he does hip hop but rock. And he put me on to there's a very big rock punk scene in Virginia and the bottom of Maryland. Like, they're really, 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 really on it. And I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize. And I see. And shout out to you guys for keeping that alive. Sometimes when you hear about rock, they'll tell you that's other people's things. And then you find out people like Don Letts. I think it's Don Letts. He was like a rock and roll guy out of the UK, like one of the first black people out the UK. But it's a culture, and it has a cult following.
Oh, and more than that, it's a community, and it's in hip hop and rock, especially on the DIY underground level. They're literally identical, except the way they handle commerce and the way that the people interact with each other. Because I'm real in hip hop, a lot of people. Like, you ain't gonna do like this is my big story for you as far as like when I realized I was in a different world in rock. One, people would come up to me after we do our show and they see me and they'd be like, yo, I saw a video you happened. It was really good. And I was like, no kidding. But also at the end of the rock show, and I've done hip hop, I've done high level, like I've done show with 2 people and I've opened for Snoop Dogg like twice, for DMX 3 times, for Bone Thugs twice. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang, like Raekwon, Inspector Deck. I've done all kinds of crazy shows. Steps P, Fabulous. I've done every kind of level of hip-hop show. You know what I mean? And no matter what level you're at, you'll never hear the hip-hop show, in my experience. Hey, did we make sure the tour band got enough money to go ahead and go to the next city? Did we make sure they're taken care of? Are they good? Do they have a place to stay? All that in the rock community, that's what happens. And when you do a rock show, and you have a headline that's a big touring band, a nationally known band, the people who are at that show, they come to your merch table just like they come to the headliner's table. In hip hop, you trying to have that happen off of just a local show, a local thing, is real tough. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times in hip hop, people skip the opening acts just to see the person who's at the top of the bill. You know what I mean? And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying
being honest.
That's a major thing that takes place. And the difference between those communities ultimately boils down to commerce. Because a lot of people have scenes and have market capabilities, or they have market capabilities, but they're not being enacted. So, the difference between a scene and a market, in my opinion, is commerce. It's not streams. It's not follows on Instagram. It's bodies in a building and people purchasing merchandise created by the artist, wearing them, representing them, and having actual conversations about them rather than reacting. They respond to the art and they talk about it and they walk around and they take it as part of their heart. And in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? That's something that doesn't happen that often because, as you said, so much rap, other cultures, and venue politics and whatnot. I can go on and on about this, but I mean, you know what an MC is. You know what I'm saying? And when you see an MC on stage, you know what it is, and that's what I represent. You know what I'm saying? Strange Famous signed me because they know I'm on an MC level. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, wait. You gotta whoa. You gotta slow that down. Slow down. Who signed you?
I'll slow that down. You know what I mean?
Say it again. Who signed you?
Strange Famous, man. Sage Francis. Strange Famous. Underground hip hop type stuff, man. And saying something that most people, you know what I mean, mainstream, you ain't going to say no, but it's underground hip hop, and he's a legend in the game. And we built that relationship. I was on Slug, Atmosphere. I was on their album as well. Yeah. And that, because of my work, and because one thing that people may or may not know about me is that I'm also a DJ on 2 different radio stations. The reason why is because we have to expand, and we have to also look at the potential of the fact that everything is interlocking. Privatization is not the same thing as avoiding exploitation. In this game, exploitation is the way in which people generate their royalties. I'm not pursuing ownership of space. What I'm pursuing is opportunity. And the only way you can have more opportunities in life is if you share your success.
You're right. Now, we got you on that.
There's a lack of reciprocation when it comes to things of that nature.
You're saying exactly what I was about to say, though. And that is the thing, is that the reciprocation is missing. But what I do and how I got signed is the fact that I reciprocated for years. Gotcha. Not for a little bit, for years. And, that's what allows people to grow. And I truly believe in people, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We here, C-Truth, Kev Lawrence.
That's right.
Talking to artist, entrepreneur, mentor, journalist, writer.
You mentioned something about when you're the field that you're in, as far as the subculture of music you're in, how they're buying merch. Yeah. And some of the other so-called current looking hip hop people can't move merch like that. And what I've been noticing, and I noticed that, and it seems like because the genre of hip hop people, whether it's hip hop, rock, also people that your target market, they don't really care about trying to stand on the wall all day and look cool with bottles in their hands and other people. They're like, listen, I'm here because I really, really like this artist, and the money I could have spent on buying a whole bottle just to look good for cameras, no, I'm going to use it and buy all the shirts, the hats, and they're really wearing the person that the people that they want to see. And they have a really big respect for those people that they came to see, like with you, the entertainer. So the people that don't know any better, they might be like, oh, who's this guy, BlackLiq? Get out of here, whatever. The ignorant people. Yeah, they don't realize that you will pack up a whole venue and be like, yo, who are these people? Where they come from? Like, yeah, this is how we do. We pack it out, and then we're selling the merch. So we're doing financially, not getting to your pockets, doing good compared to certain other artists that's going about it the so-called commercial way, which is not really the real way now. And I got to give you guys a shout out for that, man, because I've seen it. People like you do really well at these venues and do really well with selling merch.
Yeah, but the thing that also matters, and I appreciate that, the thing that I did a show with a Moto Technique recently, and at the end of the show, we got our table, you know what I'm saying? Because we do it anywhere, you know what I mean? So we pulled a table out, you know what I'm saying? We got the table, we got the merch, I got the vinyl, I got the shirts, you know what I'm saying? I got the different vinyl, I got the CDs, people still buy CDs. I got all that laid out, right? But the thing is, instead of just standing there and being like, yeah, I'm BlackLiq, you know what I'm saying? I engage and I talk to the people in the crowd, not only when I'm on stage, but when I'm off stage before the set and after, at the end of the show, when the lights are on and we doing that last rush, I'm going to talk to every person and I'm going to get into a cipher with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll get into a cipher. I remember when I used to go to a hip hop show and I love to freestyle, you know what I'm saying? And the artists, they're like, yo, it's freestyle. That meant something to me. And I took that with me for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so to have the opportunity to be in that position to give somebody that memory, you know what I mean? I do things like that. And when you do that, it converts.
No question. It lets people know you're included. You matter.
Yeah. And so when you do things like that, not to get paid, but to show people that you appreciate them, they reciprocate by purchasing your merchandise, because now they're not just wearing a shirt. They're wearing an experience and a memory.
Right.
And we don't get enough of that anymore because of people, not only because of the commercial side, but also because people are weirdos. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't know how to act.
No question. No question.
Yeah. So
what you're doing,
a fine line.
Oh yeah, sorry. What you're doing is you're building your core audience, because that same person that connected with you there,
be there with you for 40
is
years,
going to continue as long as you keep putting out quality work. Is going to continue to roll with you from here until whatever. I mean, look at De La Soul and what they do.
Look at Atmosphere. Like Atmosphere from Minneapolis, yo.
Immortal Technique, which you just mentioned. I remember Immortal Technique from, decades ago.
Yeah.
And he's still killing to this day.
He's playing Red Rocks with Atmosphere later on this year.
Still killing.
So wait. People understand Red Rock. He's playing at Red Rock. Shout out to Wu-Tang, because they had their show in a documentary that they had out there in Red Rock. That is huge. And once again, catering to your audience and being true. So shout out to you, BlackLiq, and the rest of your crew, because you're on that path. And like I said, these people will be with you for 50 years. That's
the goal, yo. 50 years and then another 25 by somebody I inspired.
No question. Now, it's Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative. We here see True Kev Lawrence.
That's correct.
Talking to BlackLiq here on the program. Talk about, I don't think we've ever had a TED Talker on our program, or somebody that's done TED Talk. That
wait. See, you mean like Teddy Ruxpin or something?
No.
Like
TED Talk.
Yeah. Let people know, what's TED? What do you mean by that?
TED Talk is like a seminar on all of these different types of subjects, from people who they invite in as guest speakers to talk about it from a perspective that they know about and that people can learn from.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Talk about the one that you did.
Yeah. So I did a TED Talk for TEDx Youth through RVA, and what I did was, the theme of the event was now, and I took that as now stands for me, which is no other way. And because to live in the present is to accept the past and to build the future by accepting both the present and the past together. It's manifestation, but it's also purpose, and it's also the obligation to get beyond the limitations of the previous experience. Because if all we know is what we've seen, we'll never see what's coming. You know what I mean? And we'll never be able to create that. And I've been through a lot of difficult situations in life, from my father being incarcerated. He's been down for 20 years, under a life sentence for a murder. He's always maintained innocence of. My mother, she had almost died several times in front of me due to health issues. And at that time, I was given the opportunity to tell my story, because TED is founded on the idea of the exchange of ideas. And what I wanted to exchange with people is the way that you can take all the negatives that you face in life, invest it within the present, and instead of living and dwelling within the past and the misery you may have experienced, transmute that and use it as something for you to build and put yourself farther forward through. And most people script their TED Talks out and they build like a whole PowerPoint presentation. Instead, I just came up there and I just spoke my truth, yo.
So you pretty much freestyled it. Yes. A lot of people, they got to really get their writing up, how they're going to say it, but you really was freestyling straight off of emotion, and you nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a strange experience, and it's something that was a huge privilege, and it changed so much for me in my life, because I work in education. I teach a hip hop creative writing class to middle schools and adults, and also with professionals. I've done private schools, public schools, juvenile detention centers, colleges, all that stuff. And a lot of it is based off the reputation that precedes me because of that TED Talk. Because people don't get to do things like that. You know what I mean? Especially rappers, quote unquote.
It's Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We here, C Truth, Kev Lawrence.
That's right.
Talking to artist, entrepreneur, mentor, BlackLiq here on the program.
True. Have you had the opportunity, other than TED Talk, which is huge, have you had the opportunity to talk about the things that some of the service that your father may need, and people may need while incarcerated, and how they could be more connected to their families?
Oh, I mean, look, I do that at shows. I do that at shows, and I've done that within speaking engagements because I do get, you know what I'm saying, speaking engagements. And I've spoken upon that plenty of times because the impact of my father's incarceration and being in that courtroom when he was convicted and sentenced to life, and then holding him down on his books and helping him, push papers and stuff like that, motions and all that. And just also the very conditions we've spoken about this in all sorts of capacities. And, the crazy thing is that you always find out there's somebody who has a family member incarcerated and you got no idea. You know what I mean? And then the other thing you find out is the rest of the room didn't understand or they thought, oh, you locked up. It ain't that simple, man. You know what I'm saying? When somebody's incarcerated, it's like they don't exist. And this world is nothing more than a conversation or something they imagine in their life. And it's they've lived in a world where they have no tomorrow. All they have is yesterday, and yesterday gets farther away every today. And so when your family members are down, just giving them an email or sending them a picture or just having a 15-minute conversation via GTL or whatever you might use, like those things, especially getting their books right too, those things are what keep them alive and help them be prepared to navigate this reality when they get out, because this world has changed so much. My father's never seen a Facebook page.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like he's never seen one.
Wow.
No, big shout to Andrea James and our girl Ariel that have their movement called Free Her. Now, it's a movement where they're freeing incarcerated women and children. They also have about men as well, but they've been getting a lot of traction in this political landscape all across America. For a lot of people that's incarcerated, they get them to be more with their families. It's not just about, hey, I'm out of prison. It's like you just said, there's so much things that go with that. Being able to see your children and still help grow your children with services and stuff like that. It's a lot. So shout out to them and shout out to you. Once again, that's Free Her, Andrea James. But shout out to you for what you're doing, because people just think it's okay, we're locked up and that's it. Throw away the key. It's like families are still there and can be affected and could affect other people. So you want to minimize.
And look, I mean, rehabilitation is the thing that you have to own. And I mean, you look at like one of my homies, X-rated. He did 27, and he got out.
That's on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, from Sacramento. Yeah,
Zach.
Yeah. He recorded and released music. Yeah, he been out for like a few years, like two or three.
Yes,
and he got out, then he got off parole. But for him to get out, he had to create programs even that didn't exist when they would deny his parole and say, you didn't do this program. He like, well, the program doesn't exist. So he'd have to he'd go through the state, get the program made, participate and graduate from that program. And he had to go through so many hoops and hurdles, you know what I'm saying? But like the one thing that, he always has told me is that he had to own his rehabilitation. You know what I'm saying? You have to own it.
Yeah.
Prisons don't work. You know what I'm saying? They don't.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And they're terrible establishments that are designed, through the prison industrial complex to create and generate all sorts of money for different entities and different aspects of the state and whatnot. And it's a system that people typically have distance of because of the fact that it's just out of sight, out of mind. But when your loved one's incarcerated, they ain't dead. And when you go and visit one of your loved ones and you see that they charging $350 for a Slim Jim, you realize there's a lot of people getting a lot of money off this thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You're tapping into something that people really need to understand. Like you might think, oh, just $3 for a Slim Jim. Yeah, that Slim Jim probably costs 20 cents.
Yeah.
And you do the math and you start realizing, wait a minute. Where the money go? I see what's going on here. But, and like you said, also accountability for ourselves, or you might to stop us from going there. But when you go there, it's it's prison industry business.
Right. It's Thermal Sound Waves. We hear C-Truth, Kevin Lawrence talking to artist, educator, BlackLiq here with us on the program. And we'll get you out on this. Given that you're an educator, talk about some of the things that you're seeing with the youth today that are coming into some of the spaces that you're teaching in or that you're going to, and some of the things that you're seeing amongst the youth today.
Oh, the biggest challenges by far is the phones, social media, and also the manipulation of what a child can be diagnosed with something and have that, right? And that's their business. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's very sensitive and very important to be paid attention to, and not to make them like point it out enough. But a lot of times you'll have children who are aware they can Google what something is and they know how to use it to avoid any kind of accountability. And the parents get behind it because, of course, they love their child and they're the number one advocate, hopefully. But like, you know, you have parents who are unprepared to be parents who are still living like kids, with kids who are growing up as adults far much faster because of their exposure through social media and the phone. And then you have this all ripple effect into, you know, different isms along with schisms and division. And it's a very difficult thing to reach a child in the classroom as an individual because of the fact that you have all of that happening. And then you have state design curriculum, and you have low budgets, and you have teacher burnout and fatigue, and you have the constant feeling of not being able to move forward. And that's the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram is failure. That's what's in the center of it. And there's two different forms of failure happening, both on the side of teachers, but also on the side of children, because the children, it's corny to say it to a lot of people, but the children are the future. But you have to be able to recognize the children in the present and notice that they need, despite the fighting and whatnot that they might push back because they know how to get out of it more than ever because of the phones and whatnot, they do need that attention. And if that means you got to take a moment to meet them on their level and study social media and study what's popping in their culture, you got to do whatever you can to relate to these children so that you can reach them and help them see that they're important, that they have so much power and wisdom.
Absolutely.
So if you inspire a child with an idea, take that idea to places you'll never imagine. But if you only try to pound information into their heads, they'll learn it to regurgitate it. And then after that, once they spit it out enough times, they won't consume it ever again.
They won't retain it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the Venn diagram, you have the intersection of the circles. Yeah. And where does those intersections lead when you fail those that are the future of the children coming up? The intersection is prison.
It's prison or an informed consumer. They don't want you to be a creator. They don't want you to be a business person. They want you to be an informed consumer.
Or a robot.
And that's of course the bottom line. You know what I mean?
You see that, BlackLiq? You act like we don't know about the Venn diagram. You try to hit us with that. We hit it right back at you. Come on now.
This is the opposite.
We got some educational here. Educational.
This is the opposite of fast food radio. You definitely know about the Venn diagram.
Educational.
Yeah. This is not fast food radio. Y'all know.
Oh, no question. Yeah, man. We home cook it over here, man.
Exactly.
No, thank you. Like, seriously, I know we laughing and all that, but BlackLiq, like, seriously, thank you for what you're doing.
Hey, thank you. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. That's what it's about. We have to. If we don't, it won't.
Yes, period. Indeed. No doubt. Big up to Dub Sonata.
Yes.
Who, because of him, I know about you. He made that connection, which is great because the things that you're doing is incredible. You know, as an artist and otherwise, you know what I'm saying?
We gotta be connected to X-Rated now over there, and we gotta get them on program.
We'll get that whole X-Rated thing going as well. And also, people, we've been playing 10 Black Commandments, right? You'll have to listen to that. He's giving you some jewels on that you really need to listen to, especially if you're an artist. You really need to listen to that, man. 10 Black Commandments, BlackLiq. Yeah. We're going to continue to play that, but y'all really need to listen to it. Don't just, the beast is hot, but really, really listen to what he's talking about.
Every bar in that song is written for somebody, you know what I'm saying, out there trying to do what I've done and go beyond it, to push them beyond that limit, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no manual. Biggie gave us 10 crack commandments, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, you know what? We're in a new era where there has to be some entrepreneurship. It's a new game given to people out here for them to pursue it, because I know in Richmond, there are too many talented artists who are in their own way. And that's not simply because of their fault. It's just because they don't know any better. So if that record hits somebody in Richmond or anywhere in the world, New York, wherever an artist hears that record, or somebody who's an entrepreneur, if they hear that and they get one gem out of that and that helps them solidify their foundation, that to me is my mission accomplished.
No question.
You know what I mean? And that's what the whole album is about. The whole album, you know what I'm saying, with Dub, it's called Much Given, Much Tested, because it's about life's challenges and using them to build.
Absolutely. So tell everybody where they could hear more of your projects, find out where you're going to be performing next and touring and doing talk and speaking engagements, and if they want to connect with you on any of those things.
Look, anything and everything, it's all one place, BlackLiq.com, BlackLiq.com. You'll get a whole hub of everything I'm doing, every kind of platform. And I'm very active on social media, especially on Instagram, and I'm very much into being DM'd and having a conversation with people. I'm not somebody who lives on an esoteric mountain. You go to BlackLiq.com, you click on something, me is what's behind that link. Not somebody else sitting there managing myself as a proxy, me. So you can always reach out to me as an artist or just as a person going through a difficult scenario in life. I'm always here for that, and I'm always going to be dedicated to trying to reach people as persons. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, people will tell you that people are stupid, but persons are smart. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And that's what I want people to experience from my art, from this album, from anything, is empowerment. If we can invest in ourselves, by expressing ourselves, we are truly invested in each other as well. So, you know, I appreciate this opportunity to share my perspective and platform and art. But most importantly, it's about us building each other. As you said, reciprocation,
No doubt, man. Thank you once again for coming through. We appreciate you. Absolutely. And we definitely going to have you back to talk about some of the other things that may not necessarily be music, but it's just as important.
I would love that. I just hope people check the music. And once again, I want to give a big shout out to Strange Famous, to my family over there, and to my brother from another, Dub Sonata, ill producer. And just to y'all again, thank you for having me. And I keep serving them the opposite of fast food. You heard me?
Absolutely. No question. That's what we're here for. All right, bro. Peace. Yes. It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. We here. C Truth, Kev Lawrence.
Yep.
Thermal Sound Wave.